Are you an XRP holder? Want to know what the peak of the bull market is going to be? Want to know what to expect in the near future for price action? Well, you've tuned into the right video because we're going to dive into it right now. Welcome back in, guys. It is Denzel, your favorite Canadian crypto host, and we're going to jump straight into the alpha here. Let's not waste any more time. So before we can talk about the XRP peak for this cycle, the XRP peak for the near future, we need to understand the path to alt season, because that's where we're going to see that blow off top, okay? So in the cycle of Bitcoin, or in the cycle of the crypto market, Bitcoin always leads the way. And this entire thesis is going to be based off of the fact that we have 4-year cycles, 1 year of down, 3 years of up when it comes to the overall cryptocurrency market. So currently, as it stands, Bitcoin is still very much the leader and the dominant force in this market. For us to see that peak for XRP, we need the money to flow into Ethereum and then flow into large caps and alts. So large cap alts are going to be like your XRPs, your ADAs, your Solanas, your Optimisms, things of that nature, okay? Your blue chip altcoins other than Ethereum. And that's where we're going to see XRP peak. So when is that going to happen? Well, based on a 4-year cycle, if we had our last cycle peak in 2021, this cycle should be peaking in 2025, the year that we're currently in. And we can actually see, if we go over here to the price chart we're going to look at Bitcoin before I come back and explain what's going on here. If we look at our Bitcoin dominance here, this shows us that 64% of the market is in Bitcoin, okay? And we'll see our alt season and all of our alts, our XRPs, our bags pump once we see this happen right here. The Bitcoin dominance drop. Okay, once that Bitcoin dominance drops, then we can finally, see a pump in the XRP price. Now let's go back to our XRP chart here, okay? We've actually seen a little bit of a pump on XRP, more than a little actually. From the lows of last December, we are currently up 600%, give or take, about a 6x from those lows, actually battling the highs of our previous peak in 2017. So for those that don't know, XRP went through a lawsuit where essentially the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, that essentially controls all the different types of investments throughout the United States, deemed XRP as security. If you want to know more about securities, like and comment down below, maybe we can get a video about that. But that's not what we're here for today. All you need to know is that that lawsuit prevented XRP from participating in the bull market last cycle. And we were suppressed throughout this entire time. We had a little bit of a pump, but weren't able to even break that $2 mark, or barely were. As it currently stands, we're battling our old all-time highs of approximately $3.40 USD, and we'll break that down in Canadian prices for all of my Canadian viewers shortly. But what can we see in this price action right now? We can see that XRP is actually creating a bullish flag right here after giving us a little bit of a pump here. And we can even see that we have somewhat of a descending triangle forming here on the XRP price as well. In addition to that, like we just spoke about, we know that we're coming to the end of that 4-year cycle where we should expect to see the alt season and that money flow from Bitcoin into our larger caps very, very soon. So how can we kind of estimate where the price is going to go based on this information that we currently have? Well, what we're going to do is use this tool here called the Fibonacci extension. So there's many different Fibonacci tools before I get myself tongue-tied here. And essentially how they work is, if you don't know, is that they take market sentiment and trader psychology and use that to identify levels of support and resistance within the market and levels of where people can possibly capitulate. Okay, because essentially all candlestick charts are just buying and selling. So when people are greedy and when people are fearful, okay, essentially on a high level, that's what it is. So by using this, we can see that if we go from the swing low to the swing high of this current trend, which is also aligned with our current all-time high, we can see levels of where people are more than likely to start taking profits on this specific asset. So we can see that our 1618 level extension here on the Fibonacci is sitting around $5.23. And we can see our 2618 level here sitting around $8. And I'm anticipating this cycle for us to make up for a little bit of what we didn't get to see in the last cycle due to that lawsuit in XRP, and push probably towards this 2618 and 3618 levels here, which if we look at it is about 15 times from the bottom here, 1500% to that 2618 level. And if we go into that 3618 level, we're looking at about a 21x from the lows there, which is pretty significant for a blue chip. You don't see those very often for coins of this tier. So when is it going to happen? Well, like I said, if we're circling back to that 4-year cycle, I'm anticipating us to have that blow off top somewhere around August to December, early 2026 at the very latest, because we've already seen that this altcoin season and this XRP pump is already underway. This 600% move is no small one, and you can even see this in the ADA price chart as well. If we take that same method of trying to calculate the tops of cycles here, and we go ahead and draw a Fibonacci extension on the 2017 high of ADA, and let's say we're trying to predict the 2021 high for this cycle that already passed, okay? We could take that Fibonacci extension, we can put it from the swing low to the swing high, and all the way back down. This is on a weekly chart, so each one of these candles represents a week's worth of price action. And you can actually see we got a rejection right from almost exactly at that 1618 level here on ADA in the last cycle, and then we topped out right below that 2.618 level. So if you use that same theory, assuming that these levels are going to stay true and correlate to other assets as well, we could use that same thesis to identify or make an educated guess that on this XRP pump that we will see in the short future, if this bullish pattern actually continues to be true, that we can see ourselves probably topping out somewhere within these ranges. I would say, of course, these continue to move upwards. I doubt we're going to go up into this 3618 level to this 4.236 level, but who knows what will happen. Anybody that tells you they know exactly where the price is going to top out at is obviously lying. Nobody knows what the market is going to do, not even I, but I can make an educated guess based on these confluences. So what is my price prediction? I am aiming for somewhere around this 2.618 level. So that's going to be $8 USD. If we're looking at Canadian prices, that is going to be approximately $12 Canadian. Once we hit this 1618 level, I will slowly start scaling out of my position. So that's going to be around $7.50 Canadian. I'll probably sell 50% of my position here and continue to scale out 1% per day until we start to see more confluences show that we are actually topping out as a whole entire market, and we see a disgusting drop probably all the way down back to these levels that we're at right now, if not lower. I can definitely give you guys another video on how to identify where the entire market is going to be, but if you want to just take a look for yourself and look at the crypto, not the total crypto market cap, but we want to look at total 3. So the total 3 chart is going to give you a breakdown of the entire crypto market minus Bitcoin and ETH. And if we just throw a Fibonacci extension over this level using that same method or that same thesis of a 4-year cycle, we can see that we're actually tested at the all-time highs here on the altcoin market cap as well. Around November, we got a rejection. We bounced off of this 0.5 level, and we also just bounced off this 0.618 level. as we continue to also on this make a little bit of a bull flag pattern here as well. Okay, so with these confluences is not only XRP. XRP doesn't move by itself, it moves with the market. That's one thing people tend to forget when they only follow one coin, that the market also moves together. So I can see us continuing to make this move to the upside. We are creating a little bullish flag here. That is a bullish pattern. We're bouncing off these very important significant levels. You know, the chart and these levels are lining up pretty beautifully, if you ask me. And with all these confluences in mind, I can see, or I can anticipate, the altcoin market topping out somewhere around this 618 level and this 2618 level as well, somewhere in between here. Same thing with the rest of my altcoins. Once you hit this 1618 level, I'll slowly start scaling out by selling probably half of my bags and then selling 1% all the way up until this 2.618 level, or until we just see a disgusting crash all the way back down to bear market levels before we start the cycle all over again. But that's all I got for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little video here. Please leave a like, a comment, and a subscribe. And remember, do your own research. Nothing I say is ever financial advice. Don't FOMO. And yeah, that's all I got. This is Denzel, your favorite Canadian crypto host, signing out.